Hey guys, it's Kim. I'm here. It took a while to get the little spinning dial of Are You Live was confusing me. Anyway, I am here for our Tuesday night live. I'm glad to be with you. I'm in that season where I'm not sure if I should wear a sweater or not, if I'm going to die of the heat by the time this is over, but we'll see. It's a lightweight sweater. We should be fine. Welcome, welcome. This is the time each week where for about a half an hour or so, sometimes a little more, I talk about things, health things, weight things, life things, whatever things that you would like me to talk about. So, some of you had asked, did I actually prepare this? No, but it just popped into my head as I was sitting here. Some of you had asked to see a picture of Eric, and this is an old picture of Eric. This is Eric when I met Eric. I don't know if you can see, if the light will let you see. Oop, hold on. Hello, Eric. There you go. This was Eric's skater days. Uh, so I love this picture because he looks so buff there. Oh, sorry. And he still looks pretty much like that. I'm gonna say. So, but let me find you a recent picture of Eric. He has a little less hair, but just as buff these days. Less tan, less tan. Uh, Let me see. So anyway, so that was Eric many, many moons ago. And where am I looking? Albums. Here we go. Anyway, I will find it. Oh, here is us at my senior prom. There we go. I still have that dress. It actually looks really nice now. I held on to it for a long time. Um, and there's Eric's face. So there you go. He has a little goatee now. So that's me and Eric. So there you go. People wanted to see the man behind the myth. There you go. Um, who has questions? I'd love to hear about them. I'd love to answer them. What's going on with me? I feel like I did a good job at the contour placement. I feel like, oh, people are going to say I lost a lot of weight all of a sudden because my cheekbones are like, but it's really that I did really well with the contour placement today. It's always like a little bit like, where should go here? Anyway, so I feel like today I did a very good contour. Anyway, I just used like a little bit of that stick. What Merit is the brand. It's like a little stick, and I just put a little brown right here on the cheekbones, and then I blend it in. Anyway, does good things. I did not grow up when we did contouring. Anyone else remember who grew up like in the 80s? It was all about like the pale face. We did the pale face, and then like blush was even not really a thing. It was very pale, very goth, right? So anyway, now we do blush. Anyway, so I wanted to start off tonight. I think I'm gonna do a video on this as well, but I thought I would talk a little bit about the element controversy because everyone is talking about it. I don't know if you guys have opinions who are watching this right now. And my opinion is that um, I feel like some people are overreacting. Now, everyone should have their own boundaries about what they accept into their life, but we should look at a couple of things. We should obviously expect our companies to have some transparency, but we should also have an awareness that a lot of them don't, right? And so I want to start out by saying I have a affiliate with Element, and if I sold a lot of Element, they would give me some pennies. Uh, I don't sell a lot of Element, so I don't think I get any pennies at this time. I do get occasional free boxes of Element, so if that means my opinion is invalid to you, okie dokie. But I saw some people commenting on some other people. Like, I'm gonna say this one. I'm gonna call this one out. Indigo Neely, who I think is awesome, and I pretty much straight up agreed with a lot of things she was saying about the element controversy. I saw a lot of people in her comments being like, "Well, you're a sponsor, and so your opinion is invalid." And I was like, I don't think people have any idea how much or little money most of us make from suggesting these products. It's not a lot. I mean, sure, like if you're a really big name, you would make more, but like it's not enough to sell your soul. It's not enough to you know, it's not enough to sell your soul. It's not enough to be dishonest. So if you think no, if you think the influencer is dishonest and that kind of person, then don't follow them, right? But if you think an influencer does their best, is an honest person, is generally somebody that has good thoughts and feelings for, you know what I mean? Like you think they're generally a good person, then you know, I kind of tend to believe them when they say, "Yeah, I'm a sponsor, but these are my thoughts." For the most part, you know, it is true that people will have leanings. And sure, money affects that. I don't know. I may be rambling here, but I just want to say, like, for most of us out there, like, we care more about being a good person and being honest than if, you know, than we care about the possible $4 that we be making this week, right? So, you know, that's a thing. Anyway, um, and I just have to put that out there that it makes me shake my head a little bit when people are so quick to you know, to jump to nefarious purposes from people. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. So I feel like, in my opinion, absolutely, we should know what are in our products. And mostly though, because some people, if you don't know what I'm talking about, so Element is a company that makes electrolytes. I like their electrolytes. The electrolytes have something in them called natural flavors. A lot of people are like, I don't like natural flavors because I don't know what's in natural flavors. And that is probably a good perspective to have, because it turns out that in these natural flavors that they buy from another company, by the way, Element isn't making the natural flavors. There are companies that make natural flavors. And so they buy these natural flavors, and because to make flavorings is a complicated business. And so they buy these natural flavors and they put them in their stuff. And they found out that, oh, they were wrong, and there's more maltodextrin in this product than they thought it was. And I kind of believe them that they screwed up and that they thought there was less and there's a little more. So I think they were did the right thing to get their product third party tested to say how much is actually in here, and then they put that on their website, and they didn't put it on their packaging. And so you might have opinions about whether or not something's on the packaging. And I think that's good because, like I said, if someone's actually allergic to maltodextrin and it's not on the packaging, you know, that could potentially be a dangerous situation. The reality is, though, there is a labeling law, where amounts of maltodextrin below a certain amount, I think it's 1 gram, don't have to be on the package. And there is less than a gram in each pack of Element. And so the problem is, right, if Element now starts putting it on their packaging, which would feel like the honest thing to do, people are going to do what I saw people doing, right? And this is just a business thing. So I saw a lot of people when they found out that there was, um, you know, maltodextrin in the Element, they were like, "Oh, well, I'm going to switch to Redmond's Relight," which I think is also a fabulous product. I'm not This is not a diss, but they use the same thing. So not from the same company probably, but they also have natural flavorings that have the same stuff, the same maltodextrin in it. And so that's what you're falling prey to, right? Is that no companies really put it on their label. And so you're like, oh, well, I'm going to go with one because Element started putting it on their label. Well, now I'm forewarned, which was, you know, honest of them. But so now I'm going to buy this other company's product who they just didn't put it on their label, but they have just as much. Right. And so that's this weird world we start to be in about labeling laws. And so from my perspective, that is, you know, that's something we kind of have to take into account. And so if you're somebody that says, I want to consume zero maltodextrin, um, then that's something you'll want to avoid all suggestions that something says natural flavorings that don't explain it. And so that's fine if you're like, hey, I don't want maltodextrin in my life. Cool beans. Like, no, you get to decide what goes in your body. It's your body. Then you have to do more research, right? And find products that don't have it. I can say that I know the people that make salty, the keto chow people, and they know about this problem. They knew that almost all natural flavors are made with maltodextrin because when you put natural in a powdered product, because most flavors are liquid. To take a liquid and put it in a dry product, they have to put it on some type of substrate. They like spray the liquid on a powder, and the powder that almost every company uses is maltodextrin. And so what Chris at Keto Chow did is they found a supplier and they said, we want you to custom make us natural flavors that you spray on acacia fiber instead. And so they have it on acacia fiber, which is not the same as maltodextrin. And so but they have to check in with their supplier regularly because these suppliers can be tricky. Because I've talked to people who make products before that have told me their supplier will just switch them out without them knowing about it. Like they were like very specific. I want X product. And then later they come back and they're like, wait, this doesn't seem the same. And they're like, oh yeah, we went with a different supplier. And so you have to stay on your supplier to keep getting the stuff that you want. But I know that Salty, they are on their supplier about making sure that it stays this acacia fiber, which is it's a type of fiber. And it's supposed to be gut friendly for sure. So, that's kind of where I stand on it. I think it's a minor thing. Like, how bad do I think maltodextrin is a discussion we could have because a lot of people got very upset that it was something that has a higher glycemic index than sugar, and it indeed does. But when we translate how much maltodextrin is in a single pack, it equates to somewhere between 1 and 2 grams of, or not even two, but yeah, like being generous, 2 grams of glucose. It's probably less than that, if I remember correctly, which, based on the body's response to that, that will raise on average a person's blood sugar somewhere between 0.25 and 1 milligram per deciliter, right? So it's not a raise that anyone would notice. And so, like, I know I have a low carb type 1 diabetic friend, and he says he continues to use it, and it has never raised his blood sugar in any noticeable way. It's not up to 4 grams of glucose or of sugar in the product. It's like a half a gram. Yeah, it's like a half a gram. So, which even if you double it, it's like 1 gram. So it's not four. I don't think it. Now are some other sources of like carbohydrate in there from, I think, the minerals, sorry, they add. So there are, like, I think if I look at a pack, it's like, it starts at 2 grams, so it might add one more. So, but so that amount of possible sugar raise, and then what's the possible effect on insulin, right? That's been discussed. It's to me, it's vanishingly small. And my biggest issue is if you're allergic to maltodextrin, if you're allergic to corn, right? There's some corn byproduct in there. It's made from corn. Then that's a big deal. Some people, very few people, but some people are very allergic to that. And so they need to know. But I don't have a concern about what it might do to most people's blood sugar from uh, from from a biological perspective, right? So, like I said, my friend who's a type 1 diabetic, he is very blood sugar sensitive, right? And he's on a low carbohydrate diet. So, he does not dose large amounts of insulin. He's very controlled in how he doses that. And he's like, it does not affect me in any negative way. And, that's one person, but we would have heard about it if this was a problem. And a lot of people out there test their blood sugar and don't have a problem. So it's more about what you're comfortable with. Some people are uncomfortable with the fact that it contains citric acid, which is just something to be aware of as well, right? So we all have to be comfortable. But from my perspective, what I see out there a lot on social media is people really enjoy outrage. And and they want to be outraged about something. And I get it, it gets clicks. And this is why I'm not more successful, right? Because the more clicks, the more eyes, the more people. Once upon a time, I was a purist. When I was first keto, I was like, if the word sugar comes up, if this word comes up, I had a long list of words, and those were not touching my lips. And I have to say, it got a little nutty. And I started caring more about the minutia. So I don't know, my boyfriend who went to Sunday school, I didn't go to Sunday school, brought up this thing. He said it's from the Bible. But I liked it. It's straining at gnats. Has anyone heard of straining at gnats as a concept? I guess it's in the old Bible, the Hebrew Bible, right? Which is that you're missing all the important stuff because you're focused on the little minutia. David says, smart boyfriend. Yes, he's not just a pretty face. He's a smarty. And so one of the things I was guilty of myself, right? So I went keto. I was very ingredient specific. I got to a place where I stopped losing weight. And I was like, it must be the maltodextrin. It must be the 1 gram of carbs that I didn't account for. It must be the this, must be that, right? I started straining at gnats. I started looking for the little things instead of the bigger things. And it wasn't until I took a step back and said, okay, well, but how many calories am I eating? How much am I eating over the course of a day? And I think that for me, once I stopped actually focusing so much on the letter of the law and more the spirit, and looking at hey, what's going on with how much you're eating. And when I turned my attention to big rocks, right, like the big boulders that make more motion than the little teeny pebbles, I fixed my weight loss stall and was able to move forward and have a lot of success. And I see a lot of that out there. I see a lot of people getting outraged about the little things. To be perfectly honest, sometimes I think so they don't have to address the bigger things. I'm not attacking any one person. I'm saying I think that's a general habit, and it was a habit that I had back in the day. That being said, I will agree here. Jujubee says I'm okay with what's in it, but I'm not okay with their slogan, no dodgy ingredients. That's why I'm struggling with all of it. And that is totally fair. Totally fair. And what does dodgy mean anyway? Right? It's kind of one of those funny words. I like it, but it has no actual definition. You might note. Dodgy, what does dodgy mean? Right? And so it's hey, it's a slogan and we should be aware of that. But I agree. Oh, we got a quote. Jujubee says he was especially harsh in his assessment of their strict adherence to laws of tithing. Well, they were neglecting the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and forget. Yeah, okay. This sounds a lot like what my boyfriend was telling me about in his Sunday school. I think there is a time and a place for convenience, says Kelly. For example, I don't know what is in all the sauces while eating out, or the mayo or butter at a restaurant. They could have hidden ingredients. Right, absolutely. So that's the deal. I'm okay with people. I'm okay with people doing whatever people want to do. You people on. But if you're going to be outraged about, again, honesty, labeling laws, all that different. But if you're going to be outraged, what are you mad about? Right. So if you're specifically mad about the maltodextrin, have you eaten at a restaurant in the past month? Have you made the decision to have a couple of strawberries? Have you are those things happening in your life? Because if so, you have experienced a similar dietary consequence, unless it's an allergy thing. Because the insulin effect of the one packet of Element, 4 eggs exceeds the insulin effect you're going to get from the Element. Now, you get a lot more good nutrition from 4 eggs. So I'm not saying everyone should be drinking this thing. I'm just saying if it's beneficial to you um, to use it, I would personally not find that I would change my mind just based on this amount. So anyway, so Sylvia says, as you say, you do you. Exactly, you do you, people. Um, but as I said, um, that you would you get to decide if it bothers you and if you feel like there isn't enough transparency. That's something we should demand, that that it should be front and center, at least on their website, or that it should be more discussed or whatever. So that's something I'm not trying. I was about to say I'm not shaming anybody, but that's on you. I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm just giving my perspective about the way I think about things. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm willing to take any criticism on. Well, I hate you know what I mean. Nurse N95 says, I've been a silent follower. I have to say, you keep looking healthier and healthier. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like I said, it was a really good day. It's always a bit of a luck moment about the the contour, and if I get it in the spot that makes my face look a little more lifted or not. So thank you for the skin comment. Kelly says, my skin is amazing. I'm entering my early 50s. I'm right on your heels. Do I have a thoughts on face skin routine to reduce dryness, wrinkles, and such? Well, I would say one thing that's really helpful is bangs. So you can probably see underneath my bangs. There's a little bit of I got the scowl lines. So now my bangs are gonna be all screwed up. I got the little scowl lines in there, so that the bangs really help. I would say that um, also, I don't have a filter on the the how you can put a filter, do you know that on the Zoom and stuff, but I don't have one on. But I do have like a very flattering light behind here, so that's helpful. I'm noticing I have more of a wrinkle on this side than this side because I think I sleep on this cheek. But thank you. I appreciate the love of now my bangs are all weird. See, this is my problem. The problem with bangs though is then you become a little OCD about the bangs. Um, so, so okay, what is my routine was the question. You know what I just started using to try it out? I don't know if I believe in it, people, but I saw have you seen this Armora colostrum? I just started using it to see what I thought, so we'll see how that goes. It's like a powder. I don't know. It's like supposed to be super good for your gut and your skin. We'll see. I don't I make sure I don't get a lot of sun, mostly because I just am so fair. So that's probably helped the skin a little bit. I have dry skin. I've always had dry skin. I don't have oily skin, so that is something I have to work on. And I have rosacea. So what I get is like little red dots all over my cheeks and like redness when my skin is upset with me, which can happen a lot. So what do I use? Is the best moisturizer I've found. So there's a company called Alitura, which makes a gold serum, which I found very nice for my skin. But more recently, I've been using Peter Thomas Roth hyaluronic lotion. It's in a little light blue container. I get it at Sephora, and I use his hyaluronic face wash as well. And I take my makeup off with micellar water. So I don't put anything real harsh, scrubby on my skin. About a month ago, I started using some tretinoin to try and work on some collagen production in my face, but you wouldn't be seeing that yet. So I don't think that's impacting it. But I started a little tretinoin because I do want to fight a little bit of the loss of collagen in the face. So yeah, so I don't at this time really take collagen, but I'll see it because it's just a lot to add to life. But I try and eat high collagen products every once in a while, like have something I've made with a collagen powder in cooking, or so I try and incorporate some collagen, make sure I get that in my diet. And so but I take a multivitamin. I'm trying out the colostrum. We'll see. I take and then I use the Peter Thomas Roth right now. So that's what's going on with the skin. I don't wear makeup every day. I try and keep it pretty healthy there. We'll see how the tretinoin goes on the skin. So that's what I do. Thank you for the compliment. I will at some point probably do topical estrogen. It looks like it does really good things, but I haven't started to use it on the face or actually anywhere. So, but I'm a fan of topical estrogen for rejuvenating all the tissues that need rejuvenation as they do. So, yeah. So that's what we got. I appreciate you because sometimes when I'm left alone to my own thoughts, I'm like, how many more years before I need a facelift? Let's just think about anyway, that's my brain. And I do wear like clip-in hair stuff, like extensions and things, because I have really thin hair and I need all the help I can get on that. So that you might be noticing some of that. So, anywho, what else would you like to know about or talk about or hear about? I don't know. Now we've stopped. All right, people got bored during the skin stuff. I appreciate that. All right. Oh, go to holiday side dishes. All right. Well, let's pull out the good old cookbook here. There's a new cover on the cookbook this year. It's coming soon. So we'll let you know when that's out. But some of my favorite side dishes, we got deviled eggs. That's a good one. That's more probably of like I would call that more of an appetizer, right? See, what do I like about go-to holiday side dishes? How about like, oh, creamed spinach is great and super easy. You just get some frozen spinach and cook it and make sure all the water is drained out of it. And then add some salt and pepper and spices and some what am I thinking? I always have to look where the kitchen is to see what I'm thinking about food. Some cream cheese and cook that up and it's delicious. A little Parmesan cheese in there. A good one might be like I love a scalloped potato. So it's like you're making scalloped potatoes, but you use like kohlrabi or radish, and that can be delicious. And then my very favorite is the celeriac mash here. If you've never had celeriac, I love it. It's sort of like if potato and celery had a baby. And so it looks like a lot of times they sell it without the green part, right? But this is what it would look like. And you can see this is the celery part, and this is the celeriac part, which is celery root. And so you just take that ugly nubbly thing and you cut off all the skin, and you're left with something much like a potato. Like I said, but it has a slight celery flavor, but not a real strong one. And then you just kind of treat it like a potato, so it makes fabulous mash and fabulous potato pancakes and that kind of thing. So those are all amazing. My little celeriac latkes, you can see there. Those are real good. Oh, excuse me. Zucchini pancakes. All those are all good holiday side dishes. I feel like can't go wrong with making some good mash, even just a nice cauliflower mash can be delicious with the right, you know, spices and herbs in there, all pretty good. So I think it's, all about what you love to eat and adding those to your plate for the day. I like to balance, right? So if I'm like, okay, well, we're having turkey. So along with the turkey, I want to make sure that we have, something like this is kind of heavy. So I want something with some vinegar in it, maybe to lighten things up, right? So like Brussels sprouts, those are great because they have a bitter component, and so they can really balance the like heavy, creamy things in like a mash. So like I kind of think a perfect holiday plate might be like turkey with gravy and I was about to say graving, no, gravy and maybe a celeriac mash with some Brussels sprouts and a green salad with a nice, really vinegary, vibrant dressing and the cranberry. I love cranberry, so I always make that. So that would be like a great um, Thanksgiving plate for me, for sure. So all right, guys. Why don't we wrap it up for the day? It was nice to spend some time with all of you, and I will be back next week. Bye.